On today's ChurchTechCast.com Q&A show, Pro6 background, Jesus and tech, stage display video in Pro5, and video lag. Hi, and welcome again to the ChurchTechCast.com Q&A show. This is the show where every week I answer your church tech questions. My name's Paul Allen Clifford. We've got a ton of questions. I'm actually several months behind, so let's head into this really fast. If you want to ask yours, just do that below the video or hit me up, paul@trinitydigitalmedia.com. Okay. First question comes from Joe Carlson via email, and he says, "Hi Paul, Joe Carlson here from Bozeman, Montana. Quick question for you. We're getting our system set up for a church plant, and I'm running Pro6 on a MacBook Pro. The only issue that I'm having is that the output display through an Epson EX3240 projector shows a thin strip of the desktop background beneath the slides being projected. Can't figure it out. As far as I can tell, the projector is at 800 by 600, which seems very low. I've resized all the presentations to match those dimensions, yet whatever size I try, I still see the strip at the bottom of showing the desktop. Any ideas?" Well, the first thing that I would do is I wouldn't guess. I would know what resolution I was dealing with, and I would do that by going into System Preferences and Monitors, and there's a button that says Gather Display. Gather those in and figure out which one. There's a little Identify button. Figure out which one is the projector, and then you would know what resolution that's sending to. Then match that up in the preferences of Propresenter. If that doesn't work, one thing that I would do is just change the background to black. I mean, it seems kind of obvious, but if you're seeing the background, you can change it on just that display. That's one of the advantages of Mac OS. They've been doing that for years, so just change it to black, and that at least helps you to get past it. Make sure also that you don't have the checkbox checked for each display is a separate space, because Propresenter doesn't like that, and quite frankly, it could cause this sort of situation. Next, DeWinley on Twitter says, "Wouldn't Jesus have scrapped all this and go talk to the people?" Exclamation point. It should be a question mark. Forget it. Anyway, what I answered is they're all means to talk to people. So he wouldn't have scrapped it. He would use every opportunity to talk to as many people as possible. He was all about people. But does that mean that on his way from being alone in the wilderness, having talked to God, he wouldn't pull out his phone and do an update? I don't know. I think he might have. Not in a look at me kind of way, but in a reaching out to more people kind of way. So I really think technology is just a tool. And if you think that technology is inherently bad, you're wrong. Tools are tools. It's what we do with them that makes them good or bad. So I think that Jesus would use available tools just as he used the common language of Greek, just as he used the Roman roads, etc., to reach out to people. So those were technologies in their time, and now using Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, those are all technologies that we have in the 21st century. So I really think he probably would have used those as well. Next, John Sullivan 6 on YouTube says, "Hi Paul, thanks for the video. We use a 3-screen setup where the Mac and Propresenter, I should mention it's version 5, very important for the answer, Think our rear-facing projector is a left screen, center is what we use in the sound booth, and our main projector when Propresenter is running. Otherwise, the right screen is the front projector. Anyhow, we use the rear screen to show lyrics from songs, both front and back, to the worship team so they can see the words too. Is there a way to create a document or some type of presentation where we can play a video, actual video file, not just a looping background, up front, and while that plays, send various still lyric slides to the rear screen so the team on stage can see lyrics there? So if you were showing a video and you wanted to show that in Pro6, Pro5 on the back, you can't do that. But you can turn off control of it. So basically, it's Command 0, I believe, if memory serves. I always get Command 0, Command 1, and Command 2 mixed up in my head. But anyway, one of those three, you start the video, then you turn off control of that, and then you can go ahead and go through the slides. So reading your question, that's what you're actually asking to do, so you can absolutely do that in Pro5. And finally, Jim on Church Mag, in reaction to one of the articles that I've written there, says, "Hi Paul, our church is trying to set up some new projectors. They are 300 to 400 feet away by Cat6 distance from the soundboard / computer. We have some HDMI to Cat6 baluns that send the signal. We are getting a nice picture on the monitors. However, the video is lagged a bunch from the soundboard audio. I assume from the network conversion and back. The audio is fed into the soundboard direct into the computer. Do you have any suggestion on how to best fix the video lag issue?" Well, the first thing I would do is I'd figure out where it actually is. You might be right. It might be the conversion through the baluns. But typically, by the way, that's not a network connection. Typically, that is a connection where it uses the magic of the twisted pair to reject interference and therefore get the signal a further distance. So there is some conversion happening, but it may or may not add latency. But I don't know that, and you don't either. So the best way to figure out is let's do some tests. This is something I went over in my troubleshooting techniques class, but what we need to do is we need to eliminate the possible causes of lag. It could be that there's something in your computer. Maybe the computer is just way too old. Could be something in the sound system. Maybe you have a delay on that you didn't know you have on. Could be the projectors, the way they process it. Could be the baluns. So what I would do if I were you is I would start by unplugging the sound, plug the headphones directly in, watch the video on the projector while listening to the headphones. Is there a lag? That would tell you something. Now reverse that. Let's plug the audio back into the sound system. Let's remove the projector from the equation and just watch it on the computer. Is there a lag? That should tell you something. So whichever of those causes the lag, now we can investigate. We can say, hey, maybe a different brand of balun will solve this problem. Or maybe I've noticed that where the projector is, I just plug in a monitor there and there's no lag. Oh, really? You see how that goes. So figure out where your lag is and then we can address it. Well, I hope that answered your question, and if it didn't, just leave your question below the video. I answer those almost immediately via email, or I answer them in the comment. Wherever I get it, I tend to answer it there, with the exception of voicemail. If you feel like you must give me a voicemail, please give me your email address, because I sometimes answer these bad boys at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not calling you then. So go ahead and make sure that you give me an email address. If you feel like you have to do it on voicemail, which I'm not telling you that number because it's out there and too many people call and leave a number, and then it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I feel like, well, it's too late. They'd be all like, oh, what happened? Is my kid dead? So I don't call at 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm answering these questions sometimes. I work odd hours. So go ahead, do that. Another way to reach me is you could subscribe to the email newsletter and just hit reply. That works perfectly fine. And to subscribe to the email newsletter, which I know you'd like if you like this show, so go to trinitydigitalmedia.com/newsletter. Subscribe there. I will send you some fun church tech gifts along with some tips, tricks, and discounts to some of my products, like my courses, like, for example, my troubleshooting techniques course that I told you about. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford with trinitydigitalmedia.com. Go out and change eternity. Oh, there you are. I just wanted to take just a second and tell you that if you were to subscribe and click the little bell icon to get the notifications, there might be some contests coming up that are only available to the people that watch the video within 24 hours. So go ahead, do that, and I think you'll be happy with some of the prizes.